This is session 7, Zoology. Now we are going to discuss the digestive glands, in which the gastric glands we have seen. The gastric glands are the glands which are present in the stomach. Generally, the gastric glands are present in the mucosa region of the gut, that is in the stomach region. Based on their location, they are present in the cardiac region and pyloric region, fundic region. Basically, we see the gastric juice is highly acidic, which includes the gastric juice which is highly acidic, vary from 0.9 to 1.8 pH value. Even it is said that it is of 1 to 2 pH value, which is highly acidic. And it includes the cells which is said to be the oxalic cells or acidic cells, then which are also named to be the parietal cells. Next, peptic cells or the chief cells. Next cells are mucous cells. The chief cells or the peptic cells secretes the pepsinogen or the prorenin, an inactive enzyme. Generally, the enzymes are released in an inactive form. The due reason is, if they are not in inactive form, they may going to damage the body parts. So they are released in an inactive form. For suppose the example, pepsinogen, prorenin, and even the trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen. These are all inactive enzymes. These inactive enzymes are being converted into active. In this connection, we see the pepsinogen, prorenin are inactive enzyme in the acidic condition, that is in the stomach, whereas the trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen in the alkaline conditions. Pepsinogen is an inactive enzyme by the action of HCl, which is secreted from the parietal or acidic cells. Convert the inactive pepsinogen into active pepsin. In the same way, the prorenin is converted into renin. That's the reason why HCl is considered to be the enzyme activator under the acidic condition. So we can also say the enzyme that acts under highly acidic medium is none other than the pepsin. If I ask you a question, the enzyme that acts under slightly acidic medium, what answer you get? That is slightly acidic medium in the sense which is more towards the 6.8 pH is of the saliva. So the enzyme that acts under slightly acidic medium is salivary amylase or ptyalin. The enzyme that acts under a highly acidic medium is pepsin. This conversion is needed, inactive into active. Then the oxalic cells or acidic cells which secrete the HCl and caseal intrinsic factor. HCl is of enzyme activator killing bacteria, and the caseal intrinsic factor is for the absorption of cyanocobalamin vitamin. Next which is what is called vitamin B12 cyanocobalamin. Next is the neck cells or the mucous cells which secretes the mucus. Besides that, we do find the endocrine cells. Endocrine cells are also associated with the stomach. These are what named to be the Argentine cells And also we consider the stem cells. Argentifin cells, basically the argentifin cells secretes the hormones said to be serotonin and somatostatin, and it also secretes the histamine. Next, the G cells are present which secretes the gastrin. So in this connection, what we learn is the endocrine cells are secreting the argentifin cells and stem cells. Endocrine refers to the hormone, which means the digestion also require the hormonal influence. We have discussed that the neurons and hormones also play a role in the digestion process. The case with the nerve plexus we have seen, Erbox plexus and the submucosal plexus that play a role in peristalsis and the increasing secretion of the intestinal juice. In the same way, here also we see the hormonal action. The hormonal action involved endocrine cells, argentifin cells and stem cells. The argentifin cells are serotonin. Serotonin is a vasoconstrictor. Whereas somatostatin, the third one is histamine. Histamine is a vasodilator. Generally, the serotonin constricts the smooth muscles of the blood vessels. So it is a constriction, vasoconstrictors. And so serotonin vasoconstrictor, somatostatin inhibit the secretion of the digestive enzymes or hormones, thereby the enzymes. And so secretion inhibition both maintains the balance. Histamine is a vasodilator which dilates the blood vessels. So that is a role played by the argentifin cells. Argentifin cells are present in the epithelial region of both the stomach and in the case of the intestine. Thereby they release the hormones. Here we see this serotonin, somatostatin and histamine hormones, as well as the G cells secreting the gastrin. In the same manner, in the intestinal region also, we find the argentifin cells which secretes the secretin hormone. So, let's see the serotonin vasoconstrictor, histamine vasodilator, and the G cell secretes the gastrin. Gastrin in turn stimulates the secretion of the gastric juice. Gastrin is secreted from the pyloric region of the stomach. And the next one is the stem cells. Stem cells are undifferentiated cells. They are the undifferentiated cells. They multiply and form the cells that are damaged, which means it is a kind of regeneration. Whatever the cells are damaged, that are replaced. So this is what the endocrine cells, which includes the argentifin cells and stem cells. Argentifin cells are serotonin, somatostatin and histamine. Serotonin vasoconstrictor, which constricts the blood vessels. Somatostatin, what inhibits the secretion of the hormones and thereby the enzymes. Inhibition means regulation here. One stimulates and another inhibits, thereby the balance is seen. Histamine vasodilator. G cells are what secreting the gastrin hormone, Gastrin hormone stimulates the gastric juice. Stimulate the gastric juice. This gastric juice what highly acidic and is with the HCl, calcium intrinsic factor, mucus, pepsinogen, prurinin, some amount of the gastric lipase also seen, but whose action is very less. And the due reason is the fat digesting enzyme require alkaline condition. That's what the Urgent cells and stem cells are undifferentiated cells that form the lost cells. They are like a regeneration. Next, come to the intestinal glands. The intestinal glands are the glands present in the intestine. Same like the gastric glands, intestinal glands are also named to be the internal glands, internal exocrine. Why? We have already discussed that the exocrine in the sense the glands which are with the ducts and they release their secretions into their respective regions. Exocrine, duct glands, digestive glands. So these are the digestive glands and extra outside alimentary canal and the intra alimentary inside. So in the case of the intestine where intestinal glands are present, same like the gastric glands, these are internal intestinal exocrine glands, internal inside. These are present in the basically the intestinal glands we see as the crypts of Lieberkuhn and the Brunner's glands. These are what said to be the intestinal glands. Intestine located. The diagram that shows, you can see the intestinal glands diagram. That is, these are the villi. In between the villi, there present this what is called spaces, crypt. That's what the crypts of Lieberkuhn. The crypts of Lieberkuhn are the intestinal glands which are present in between the villi, where the crypts are present. That's the reason why these are crypts of Lieberkuhn or intestinal glands. The juice secreted from this intestinal glands is also the alkaline condition. We have observed that in the case of the buccal cavity, the salivary juice secreted is slightly acidic since it is with a pH of 6.8. The next we have seen is in the case of the stomach, highly acidic, and the next in the intestine it is alkaline condition. So intestinal juice is also named to be the Saccocentericus, and these glands are internal intestinal glands since they are present in the mucosa region. Basically, the intestinal epithelium, which is a columnar epithelium that forms the intestinal glands and villi. So the intestinal glands are crypts of Lieberkuhn and Brunner's glands. These are present in the mucosa region. Crypts of Lieberkuhn in the mucosa region, whereas Brunner's glands are present in the submucosa. This is the reason why we say they are submucosal glands. The crypts of Libercoon lie in between the villi where the crypts, hence crypts of Libercoon. The crypts of Libercoon which are present in the mucosa region and secretes the intestinal juice. Whereas the Brunner's glands are present in the submucosa region, it is secreting the mucus. A little enzyme, a little why we say is not at all. So it is of mucus secreting and this is of intestinal juice secreting. The combination of the secretions of the crypts of Libercoon and Brunner's glands is said to be the intestinal juice or saccus entericus. Generally, what we see in the case of the intestinal glands, there we find two types of the cells, same as we have seen in the case of the gastric glands. What we have seen there, one is the peptic cells or the chief cells. Second, the acidic cells or the oxantic acidic cells, parietal. Third is the mucus cells or the neck cells and endocrine cells, as we have seen there in the case of the gastric glands. In the same way, there are two types of the cells we find. One is named to be the argentifin. Just earlier we have seen argentifin cells are present in the stomach as well as in the intestine. Argentifin cells, and one more is said to be the Paneth cells. Right. Argentifin cells are present at the base of the villi. Argentifin cells. Generally, these argentifin cells secretes the hormone named to be the secretin. Secretin is a hormone. We consider the first hormone to be found is secretin itself, which is from argentifin cells. And the Paneth cells. The Paneth cells are said to be, they are the phagocytic cells. Phagocytic. What do you mean by phagocytic? In the sense, they are the phagocytosis, killing bacteria. How? That is, these are what protective in nature. That is, the Paneth cells are considered to be, Paneth cells are with releasing lysozyme, an enzyme which is an antibacterial. It kills the bacteria. That's what it is, phagocytosis. So in the case of the intestinal glands, crypts of Libercoon, Brunner's glands. Crypts of Libercoon present in the mucosa, Brunner's glands in the submucosa. And the cells present are the argentifin cells and the Paneth cells. However, the Brunner's glands also contain goblet cells. All along the length of the alimentary canal. In the histology of the gut, if we observe, there are serosa, muscular layer, submucosa, mucosa. We have seen mucosa is the region where goblet cells are present. The goblet cells are unicellular glands. Glands are lined by epithelium. Such epithelium is a glandular epithelium. So glandular epithelium, which is of two types, unicellular, multicellular. Unicellular is goblet cells, which secretes the mucus. And mucus is for require entire the gut. For what purpose? Lubrication of the gut surfaces, as well as the smoothing and allowing the flow of the food from one part to the next part. Even mucus is of protective also. It trap the bacteria and make available to the phagocytes. So the Brunner's gland, which secretes the mucus, Okay, that forms in the mucosa region, which is not only here but entire the alimentary canal, which is of lubrication as well as the smoothing and allowing the flow of the food from one part to another, and also trapping the bacteria, microbes, thereby it made available for the phagocytosis. That's the reason why it is also comes under the MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissues. Right, goblet cells are unicellular that secrete the mucus. This is intestinal glands, which are considered to be the crypts of Leber-Kuhn and Brunner's glands. Basically, these are what are said to be the simple tubular. Simple tubular, the due reason is the secretory part and the duct are unbranched. Simple tubular refers to this is what the simple tubular diagram that we can see there. This is the duct and this is the secretory part. It is entirely tube like and unbranched. That is the reason why it is simple tubular. The intestinal gland, which includes the crypts of Leber-Kuhn, Brunner's gland, together secretes the alkaline secretion, name it to be the intestinal juice, or it is also named to be the Saccus entericus. Saccus entericus or the intestinal juice. Generally, the mucus is secreted by the goblet cells. In the same manner, the bicarbonates and water is secreted by enterocytes present in the intestinal glands. Juice is secreted by the glands. In the same way, everything is secreted from particular cells. So, enterocytes are also present. So, in this connection, intestinal glands secretes the Saccus entericus or intestinal juice, which is alkaline in nature. It is about 7.6 to 7.8 alkaline. 7.6 we consider. So it is alkaline. There are certain variation according to one book to another, certain variation. So it is better consider alkaline in condition. Alkaline condition, which is above the pH 7 value. And the Saccus entericus intestinal juice alkaline condition daily for about the 2000 to 3000 milliliters of the intestinal juice is secreted. This includes, which means 2 to 3 liters per day. 2000 milliliters to 3000 milliliters. The components of the intestinal juice, as how we have seen, salivary juices with salivary amylase, ptyalin and mucus, thiocyanate likewise we have seen, and lysozyme enzyme. In the same manner, the case with the gastric juice, which is highly acidic, it includes pepsinogen, prorenin in the case of the infant, that is to be reminded, and also the mucus, casein intrinsic factor, those are and hormones. In the same manner, intestinal juice also includes the components. The components of it, if we observe, it is with an enzyme activator, name it to be the enterokinase. The components of the composition of the Saccus entericus, if we see, enterokinase, disaccharidases. Generally, the carbohydrates are said to be the polysaccharides. Carbohydrates or starch are polysaccharides, which are converted into disaccharides. Disaccharides into monosaccharides. Starch or the carbohydrates which are converted into disaccharides, named to be the maltose, sucrose and lactose. So these are what converted into the simpler monosaccharides, simple sugars, glucose, fructose and galactose. So polysaccharides into disaccharides into monosaccharides. This is the sequence of the substances. So the enzyme that act upon it are what named to be the carbohydrases, disaccharidases. So disaccharidases in the sense maltase, sucrase and lactase. Maltase act upon maltose, sucrase on sucrose, which is also named to be the invertase, and lactase on lactose. That convert the maltase on maltose into glucose, two molecules of the glucose, and sucrase or invertase on sucrose into the what is called glucose and fructose. Likewise, the disaccharides are converted into monosaccharides by disaccharide. So they are maltase, sucrase and the lactase. Besides that, we do also find alpha dextrinase are also present as a disaccharidase, and intestinal amylase. Amylase is present. Next, nucleotidases and nucleosidases. What do you mean by this? Generally, the nucleic acids are also digested. Nucleic acid digestion. The nucleic acid digesting enzymes are named to be the nucleases and nucleosidases. As the nucleases are acting upon the DNA and RNA, convert into nucleotides. Then upon that the nucleotidases, then into nucleosides. So nucleosidases on nucleosides, this is how the nucleic acids are digested. So intestinal juice include the enterokinase, an enzyme activator. Already we discussed it. What we discussed is there are the enzymes which are released in a inactive form, which require the activation process. Earlier we have seen HCl, an enzyme activator in acidic condition. In the same manner, enterokinase is an enzyme activator in alkaline medium, which act upon the trypsinogen and chymotrypsinogen and convert it into trypsin and chymotrypsin. Trypsinogen, pepsinogen, wherever it is added, then it is an inactive. So pepsinogen into pepsin by HCl. In the same manner, trypsinogen into trypsin by enterokinase. So we consider it as an enzyme activator under alkaline condition. Then disaccharidases, that is maltase, sucrase, lactase, which act upon the disaccharides and convert into monosaccharides. Digestion is a process which is completely takes place in the intestine. That's the reason why all components, all the food products are digested here. In the maltase, sucrase, lactase, then amylase. Next, nucleosidases. Besides that, it is also with the dipeptidase. Proteins are digesting. Proteins are already partly digested in the stomach. So dipeptidases, tripeptidases are also present, which digest the food. And also aminopeptidase. Generally, a protein includes amine group, carboxylic group. That's the reason why carboxypeptidase, aminopeptidase. Aminopeptidase act upon the amine group, and the carboxypeptidase, which is a component of the pancreatic juice, act upon the carboxylic group. So this is how the aminopeptidase on amine group, then carboxypeptidase, then into the tripeptidase, tripeptides, dipeptides, finally amino acids are formed. That is nothing but the protein digestion.